Hi, Patrice here. I'm in the car again. I'm doing a lot of videos in the car, it seems, these days. It's just easier. My therapist brought up something interesting today, and we basically talked about what I guess, how do I even say it? I guess what it could look like to have a relationship with my mother. One, I'm like, what if she don't even want, a relationship with me anymore? That's her choice, and right now, I'm not ready at all. It's way too triggering. It's just too much. Definitely too much for me right now, for a number of reasons. And then, but two things happened as a result of the conversation that I had with my therapist. She got me like really thinking, and because, a couple songs came to mind. One, it takes two, baby. It takes two, baby. My voice is still a little hoarse. It sounds funny to me. I don't know if it sounds funny to you at all. But anyway, and then it takes two to make a thing go right. It takes two to make it out of sight. So I like that came to mind, and because I was like, when I was with my therapist, I was thinking, I could try to, again, not now, but I could try to, have a relationship with my mother, but it does take two. I know that I have to manage my level of expectation. As I mentioned in another video, you don't look at a snake and expect the snake to act like a cuddly puppy. That's stupid. You look at the snake and know, okay, this is a snake, and the snake is going to behave like a snake does, and you govern yourself accordingly. So that's the idea. Of course, that's easier said than done. And what I'm thinking about after the fact is that I'm like, my God, like, I'm amazed with this journey that I've been on, because even while I didn't know all that I know and understand now, and I'm not saying that's everything, not at all, but I understand far more about the dynamics involved in this whole thing. Good Lord, it's crazy. But anyway, I understand far more than I ever have before. But when I did not understand, I knew something was wrong, and I set myself to set up boundaries that time and time again were like ignored, pummeled over, like all of that, and it just didn't work. It didn't work. And this is it's kind of funky and hard for me, because I have dealt with death up close and personal, right? With several family members, like been there, as they're passing, or just before, all of that. And I'm talking like just people closer to me and all. I've had 3 siblings die, and my father and my stepfather, I was there when he passed, and with my grandfather, the night he died, I was there. I saw him. I knew, so I say that to say I don't have the privilege of taking things for granted in the way that I see a lot of people are able to, because I understand and respect time and how short our lives can be. And so I respect that and I honor that, and I have a greater understanding of what's important and what's just not, in the grand scheme of things. And it amazes me how with this situation I'm still governing myself in this manner. And I fully believe and know that, like, I'm following God's leading with this. So it's a hard thing. And then I'm the type of person that is like a ridiculous optimist, and I'm having to pay closer attention to what's being done and not just what's being said. And like, people can tell you all day, like my mother has said, like, she loves me unconditionally, but meanwhile, it's dawning on me today that not only is she currently spreading a different narrative to people, like, behind my back, and saying something different and opposite in my face, but she's been doing this. I realized today, I remembered that before I even knew that any of this was, I set myself to I stopped, when I would visit her, I stopped staying in her house. I would get a hotel, or I would stay at a friend's house, and with my children. And that was me setting a boundary. That was me trying to have and keep a relationship with my mother on my terms that worked for me, so that I could be with her, so that I could, I could be there physically. And it was still effed up. It was still bad. It was still everything that, yeah. And I remember in this moment, there was a family gathering that my mother hosted for whatever the holiday in October is. And I grabbed one of my friend's children, and I was like, hey, can she come with us? And they said yeah. So we all went, and we surprised my mother. I love surprising people. I love that. I think it's fun, and I thought it was, a nice thing to do. We surprised my mother, and we showed up at her house, and we showed up because I had a baby. I guess my oldest son was the baby at that time. And it was such that when she came to the door, they held the baby to the door, like the baby knocked at the door. And she was happy, and it was nice, and we had a nice time. But I'll never forget, I remember mentioning to my daughter, I said, ooh, her friend, one of her friends that was there, that I had never met this woman ever in my life, but my mother says they've been best friends for 50 years, which is, I'm like, well, why? I've never seen her before, heard her name ever. But anyway, this lady was there, and I will never forget, I caught her giving me the stankest eye. The stankest eye, I'm telling you. And I said to myself in that moment, I said, ooh, mommy has been telling her something, and she's mad at me on mommy's behalf. But she better be careful, because she don't understand my mommy. She does not understand that in this moment, I am doing what my mother would want me to do. And so I am in her good graces in this moment. And if she catches her giving me an eye, she might step to her, and she gonna be confused, because it's like, I thought we were mad at her, like, whatever. And so I peeped stuff like that, but I just ignored it. I didn't say anything. And even to this day, what would I say? Like, it's you pick and choose your battles, and you just, whatever. So But I'm realizing now, like, wow, yeah, she's been spreading a narrative about me all along, actually. All along. You know, like, just, yeah. So, how do you have a relationship with somebody like that? How do you do that? And so, because, again, it takes two, baby. You know, like, seriously, if you and I have a relationship with one another, and I am combative, I'm negative, I'm backbiting, backstabbing, like all of these things, you bring it to my attention and like, hey, you hurt me, ouch. And I'm like, no, you imagined it. No, I didn't. I don't remember it. Or my emotions made me do it. Or, you know, it's somebody else's fault that happened. You know, I'm sorry you feel that way. You know, why would you want to continue to have a relationship with me? Are you stupid? You know, like, seriously. So that's like the kind of stuff that I'm like thinking about, and it just doesn't make any sense to me. It makes no sense at all. And I don't understand how it could work, because again, I'm faced with more flashbacks of having tried, even when I didn't know exactly what I was dealing with. I knew it was difficult. I knew I was stressed. And so I tried to do something different to make it work and be easier. And it wasn't. There were times that I have gone to visit and left right in the middle of family gatherings because it just got to a point where it was too much. It was too much. I couldn't handle the bullying of the children around, and I just couldn't handle it. So I was like, nope, I gotta go. I need to take myself out of this equation because I'm gonna go off. I can't handle it, you know? I can't handle seeing children being bullied for doing nothing, you know, for just being children, for just being present, and maybe causing some sort of injury, you know. That's, you know, yeah, I'm trying to use my words, like, you know, in a good way or whatever, but I don't know. So anyway, what I did was I'm in a lot of different groups, and I don't want to park here. I'm in a lot of different groups, and with people who have a mother just like mine, and I asked them what they thought and what their experiences were like. Had they ever tried to make it work on their terms? Have they ever, and how did it go, if so? And do they foresee themselves ever being able to have any sort of semblance of a relationship? And the sweeping answer was no. And there were a lot of stories of what they tried, how they tried it, and their story is their story, my story and journey is mine. So there's room for that, of course. I have seen, though, a lot of parallels, like the ones that had stories of having tried. I was like, oh my gosh, I did that, and I did that too, and I did that, and it just amazes me because I didn't know what I understand now, and yet I was actively trying for years to I don't want to park here either, because they parked all funny, people, and I don't want them to get out of their parking space and hit my car. But anyway, so I don't know how this could work. I sincerely don't know, and I feel very grateful that, again, I hear from God. I hear him well, as one of my beloved friends who is super prophetic loves to tell me. She's like, you hear him well. Just trust him, you know? I'm like, yep, that's all I can do, you know? So I am just listening for him to guide me in this, with this especially, because I don't see how it can work. I really don't. And the feelings behind that, Lord Jesus, it's a grieving, you know, that goes along with that, because it's like I'm grieving what I probably will never have. And that's like a crazy idea for me, because I'm like, no, God can heal anybody. And I fully, wholeheartedly believe that. And I believe that we all have free will. And that's not to be trampled upon. And people can do whatever they want to do. And that's their prerogative, you know? So, but it's also my prerogative to not put myself in harm's way. So it's rough. I don't know what's gonna happen, but I'm not gonna like sit around and worry about it either, because I gotta be where I am right now. And right now it's at the parking lot in the at my favorite store. So yeah, because I'll run myself ragged if I'm gonna sit around worrying about tomorrow and what might be. That's silly. It reminds me of that Mark Twain quote that says something like I've been through so much in my life, some of which actually happened. So on that note, I will stop and like, subscribe, hit the notification bell if you want to continue following me. Thank you for watching, and I hope you're doing well. Bye.